My friend, good morning. Welcome. Welcome to another edition of Growth Bites. Listen, I'm recording this right after I finished my live broadcast because unknowingly I just did that on a muted microphone. By a mistaken setup, the whole time I was speaking, the microphone was off. So you will see me gesticulating and moving my hands and speaking a lot on camera if you're looking at the post on LinkedIn, or if you do that, and no sound. So what I decided to do was just run over the questions again and give you the benefit of that. So without further ado, let me just introduce myself. I am Eduardo Lopez. You and I might have met before. I founded VSharp. Ambitious finance managers hire me to fast track their next promotion because they're frustrated and tired of not making the kind of money that they want, not making the right career progress that they know they could be making. And I help them get earmarked for faster growth, for more promotions, so that they can over time get the income that they want. So if that sounds like you, let me know in the comments, send me a note, get in touch with me, and I'm pretty sure that we can get into a conversation where we will find a way to accelerate your career. The other thing that I want to communicate is that I'm changing the mechanism through which I get questions for these sessions, and I'm going to do that slightly. So the Slido, which I will continue to use, will be cut off the preceding Monday. So every Monday afternoon, I will do a cutoff, and all of the questions that are in Slido at that point are the ones that I'm going to use the top 5 of those for the session the following day on the Tuesday. And finally, if you're like me, you recognize that business writing is not always as easy as we want it to be, that it's sometimes hard to convey complex ideas, things that could be very involved or convoluted, in a simple, concise, succinct way. And the best communication is achieved when you have a very clear thought process, when you have distilled the most important ideas into the very key components of the message that you want to transmit. And that's what effective business writing does for you. It's not only for you to write a memo or a mail and send it through. Maybe your company does not use mail. What it does is it forces you to think through a subject, to structure it, to position in a way that even if you only convey the message verbally, you will be able to do it with maximum effect. And so if that sounds like you, I would be really, really interested in having a conversation. I'm working on a course on effective business writing, and I would love to get your thoughts to inform how I prepare it, to understand what the need is, to see what your pain points might be so that I can address them in the course. If you're interested, again, let me know in the comments. Get in touch with me on YouTube, in a comment, or on LinkedIn, DM me in Instagram. Find a way to reach out to me, and I will send you an invite, and we can get into a very short 20 minutes, no more, conversation, and we can discuss your pain points and what would you be looking for in a course in effective business writing that really solved your need. I'm really interested. And there's more courses that I'm working on, and I can give you, a chance to also participate in the creation of those. And I will keep you posted as of what they are and how you can help me. They include effective, not only effective business writing, but also executive presence, finance for non-finance managers. And so there's many other things. I'm working on a series of articles that I would love to get some research done, but I will communicate those separately. Please, if you believe that you could improve your business writing, you could benefit from effective business writing, let me know and we'll get into a conversation. Okay, so the first one is, I have been told that my job will be made redundant. I cannot help but feeling as a massive failure, even though I know I was doing a good job. Any thoughts to share? Yes, absolutely have thoughts to share. The first thing is, I don't want you to start programming yourself by telling yourself, by repeating inside your head this story that you are to blame, that this is a problem with you. It's most likely not a problem with you. Companies do this all the time when they face dire economic situations or tough challenges that they need to make very difficult decisions. I was a CFO. I, in my time, had to make these decisions too. They're always painful, they're always hard, they're never pleasant, but they need to be made. And it has nothing to do with anybody in particular, certainly not you, my friend. What you have done, your unique value, your unique experience, your unique perspective got you to where you are today. So know that. Know that this is not a ding on your reputation, on your capabilities, on your ability to do the job. You can do that. So this is not you, it's the company that's acting on a problem that it needs to solve. That's the first thing. Remember, we are what we think about. If you start telling yourself that you're the problem, that you're somehow a failure, like you worded it, that you are to blame, then eventually you will believe it and you will act in consequence to that. You will act consistently with your inner story. Take some time, put your pencil down, focus on yourself, on your well-being, on knowing your strengths, on knowing the value that you add, on knowing how unique you are. Go take a cruise, go for a walk, take time off at home, paint your house, do whatever economy allows, whatever your inclinations are. Spend some time on yourself. You've earned it. And during that time, refocus, recenter, and decide what it is you want to do with passion, with energy, that will really fill your time and life with satisfaction and fulfillment. And I'm sure that you will be successful, and you will see that, like Steve Jobs said, when he got fired from Apple, that first time that he got fired, he said in Stanford University in a commencement speech, I believe in 2005, the best thing that had happened to him, he said, was to be fired out of Apple. Think about that. Steve Jobs himself saying the best thing that happened to him was getting fired from Apple, because that allowed him to become a beginner, a startup again. And he said that there was nothing as liberating as the experience of having to start all over again and having a clean slate. And that's my invitation to you. Think about this as a key to open a door to the next chapter in your life. It's a reset, refocus. What could you do better? What do you want to focus on? Is it a business? Is it another job? Is it a different industry, different country, different state? What do you want to do? This is a reset. It's a fantastic opportunity. You might have been given the chance of your life. Think of Ray Kroc, the guy who started McDonald's. He started that in his 50s. He used to sell vacuum cleaners. So even if you're in your career or into your career for a number of years, this is not the end. It's never too late. You can go and start something that is brilliant. You're going to do that, and I'm sure that it's going to be great. Okay? All right, let's go to the next question. All right. In a past Growth Bites, you mentioned humble leadership. I'm trying hard to be a better leader this year than last, and I want to explore that. Do you have any inspiring stories? Yes, I do. I was lucky enough to have experienced humble leadership firsthand by one of the most gifted leaders that I knew, and that I, again, feel very blessed to have worked with. And I'm going to give a shout out to him, Emilio Moraleda, my friend. Just so you know, you were probably the best leader that I ever had. Emilio's style was, I think, the live example of what being a humble leader is. He put his team before himself. He made you look smart rather than he trying to become the star of the show. And guess what? By doing that, he shone. By doing that, he enabled the leadership team that he put together to achieve things that nobody thought could be done. I was lucky enough to be part of that team. I was the CFO. And so that's what a humble leader will do. A humble leader puts his team or her team before. So you're not the first in line, your team is. You're not the smartest person in the room, your team is. Help them shine. Help them show their genius. Help them show their strengths. You're not the voice that needs to be heard the most in the meeting. Actually, yours is the last voice that needs to be heard in the meeting. You want to be a humble leader? Let your team speak. Let them speak their minds. Let them disagree with you. Be okay, be comfortable with admitting that you might not have all the answers, that you might be wrong from time to time. That's why you have a team. Every member of your team is doing that job because they should be doing it better than you could. Otherwise, why hire them? Surround yourself by people who are smarter, and then admit that they're smarter, and then let them shine and give them opportunities. That's what a humble leader does. How can you help them? If they trip, help them understand why they tripped. Help them get better. Help them focus on their strengths. Do not be like those leaders that double down on somebody who fell and blame them for tripping. We are all humans. We have all tripped. And if you haven't, wait, it'll happen. We will all make mistakes, always. There's never a time in your life when you don't make mistakes. The important part about mistakes is that you learn from them, and the important ability, a very important ability that a humble leader has is that he or she will not blame you for your mistake. He or she will put himself or herself in front of you, give you air cover, and then help you get up, help you understand what the mistake was, and help you become stronger and become better. That's what Emilio did for me, and that's why I'm so thankful for him. Gracias, Emilio. And that's what you should be doing for your team. I'm super excited that you're asking this question, that you are thinking of ways to become a better leader for your team, and I'm sure that you're going to be successful. Put them before you. Let them speak before you. Let them shine. Why? Because your career is in the hands of your team. If they shine, you shine. If they do well, you do well or better. Your career is going to be pushed up by their achievements. So be humble. Let them shine. Be that leader that Emilio was for me. I love that you asked this question. Thank you very much for that. Let's go to the next one. What is a Scrum Mini-Sprint? How can I use it? I heard the engineering team, who are coders, discussing this over lunch, and it seems to be exciting. Scrum is, for those of you who are outside of the US, in what outside of the US you call American football, what in the US we call football, there's a huddle. So the team gets together, they plan their next play, and that also happens in rugby. In rugby, that's called the scrum. It's not an acronym, it's just that huddle, that get together that the team does before executing or on their next play. And in the context of business, a Scrum Sprint is the act of planning how you will execute on your next move. A Scrum Sprint refers to a short period of time in which or over which you will be focusing on a very specific set of tasks to accomplish a very specific set of objectives, which are SMARTs: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. So you set your SMART goals for the next short period, typically 2 weeks, and you execute on them, and then you review and you see how you did, and you correct anything that you need. Specifically, there's several stages to Scrum. There's Scrum planning, where you and the team identify what it is that you need to tackle, why you need to tackle it, who's going to do what are the priorities in order for this to happen and to be resolved within that period. Then there's the sprint itself, where everybody goes and does what they're supposed to be doing with absolute focus, with zero distractions. That's a priority for that couple of weeks. During those 2 weeks or so, there's an important part of it is there's got to be a stand-up meeting. A very short Scrum meeting where the team gets together every day and you review how are you getting on with those Scrum objectives that you set out for yourself and for the team over the Scrum period, over the sprint period, I'm sorry. So are you making progress? Is anything blocking your way? Is there anything else that anybody else in the team can help you with? Do priorities need to be somehow shifted? What's the pivot that's necessary? So that's the daily dialogue that happens in stand-up meetings. They're called like that because they're supposed to be brief, If you sit down, you're going to take longer. If you're standing up, they're dealt with very, very quickly. So that's another important part during this the sprint period in the Scrum. After that, you have a review, a documentation where you see, okay, what happened? How is it going? Is there anything that we need to document for next time around? Is there a new process here that we need to capture, that we need to reflect? Then there's a review where you look back, it's a retrospective, and then you analyze what did we do well, what could we have done better. The military have something that they call a post-action review. This is similar. You look at what you just did, you review and you assess the work that you just completed, and then you identify things that you can do better next time. That's how Scrum and Scrum Sprints are very compatible with continuous improvement. There's always a specific methodical effort to understand what happened, what could have gone better, and who needs to do what in order to make it better. So it's very, very applicable to non-coding, non-engineering tasks. I used sprints to great effect to make a major significant improvement in accounts receivable. You know, during, as examples, we created Scrum Sprints for resolving disputes, for starting up a new tool or a new process, for getting involvement with a client or a number of clients or customers, for improving invoicing practices. So there's a lot of things that we did where we identified this is what we're going to do over the next 2 weeks, and that's what we did. And that gave us the security, the knowledge, the confidence that as we moved on, that was not a problem anymore because we solved it thoroughly. So I'm in love, my friend, with the fact that you are looking at Scrum and that you are considering how to use it for your non-engineering, probably non-coding, most likely based on your wording work. So go for it. I'm interested in hearing how that went. Please update me. Let me know how your Scrum Sprint turned out. Let's go to the next question. I'm having a hard time, or a really hard time, setting priorities. There's so much, including my boss. Unbelievable how many urgent things she's coming to me with. She's not pushing back. Help. Okay, my friend, I feel you. I've been there. Listen, there's a very, very key message that I want to give to you right now that I think is very important. Master the art of saying no. Most of the things that you will see in front of you that you need to do are not as urgent. Very few of them are. So learn how to say no to all of those things that are not priority, that are not going to move the needle, that are not going to make a big difference. Remember what Warren Buffett said. I forget when he said it, but this is a famous quote where he says, the most successful in the world are those that find themselves saying no to almost everything. Obviously, his words are probably different. I'm paraphrasing, but that's the essence of his message. Did you hear that message? Let me say it again. The most successful people are the people who know how to say no to almost everything. What's implicit in that message? Well, that you will focus only on those things that you have given priority to, and you're doing that because they're going to move the needle in a major way. That's what you need to focus on. Stephen Covey also said, again paraphrasing, something to the effect of people who are successful are not afraid to say no, smiling in a courteous way, in a cordial way, but they say no because they know that they have a burning yes inside. Because they know that they have a burning yes inside. What does this mean? That you know exactly what you need to focus on, that's the very small set of things that you're going to say yes to, that's the one thing or the one little group of things that you're going to be putting your energy against. And there's a bunch of others that might be urgent, that even could be important, but they're not as important. So don't dilute your energy, don't dilute your focus. That's what that means. Don't be afraid to push back on anyone if that person is going to be pushing you off of this focus. I'm pretty sure your boss, your supervisor is a reasonable person. Go to her and let her know, frankly, with respect, in a constructive way, how she's not helping you. Let her know that if she's not pushing back, she's in a way becoming part of the problem. You're trying to get your team to focus on things that are more important. Let her know what you consider those priorities, why you consider them important, and how she can benefit from you solving those with priority, with energy, and well. And I'm pretty sure that she will come around, see your point of view. Let her know that you need air cover. If she herself is being bombarded by her boss, just like she's bombarding you, then you're giving her an example and therefore helping her of how to push back in a polite way. Tell her to please push back, to please set priorities, to please give you air cover, and let her know how she will benefit from that. This is such an important skill. Saying no is an underrated ability. Learn how to push back on your boss, on whoever it is. Learn to explain why you're pushing back. Learn to focus on the few things that are important. Do like Warren Buffett says. Focus on just the important things. Say no to almost everything, not because it doesn't matter, but because there's very, very few things that are really that key. Okay? All right, let's go to the next question. And this is the last one. In your last newsletter, you recommended a digital communication strategy. How does that look? Well, a digital communication strategy is you identifying a number of things. One, what exactly is the message that you are trying to convey? Why do you want to convey that message? Who are you going to be talking to? Where do they congregate? Like grapes in a vine. Where do they hang out so that your target public, right? So you can go and talk to them there. Is it going to be over internal videos, internal email? Is it going to be a campaign where you're going to put posters all over the office? Or is it going to be messages that you're going to be sending constantly? Is it only going to be you? Is it going to be you, but then also members of your leadership team? Is it going to be the same message all across whatever period your campaign lasts? And then with specific heavy ups every now and then where you double down and reinforce some of the messages. A digital communication campaign is a very deliberate, or rather a digital communication strategy is a very deliberate effort where you know exactly what you want to accomplish, who you're going to be talking to, when you're going to be talking to them, in which media you're going to be talking to them, how you're going to pivot if things change, how are you going to pivot if you decide to shift priorities because something changes, life happens. So a digital communication strategy doesn't need to be very complicated either. Grab a piece of paper and jot down in there who do you want to talk to. Second, what's the message that you want to convey? Third, where do you want to convey that message? Is there more than one channel? What's the best way to get to them? Fourth, what's the simplest way that you can make that message go to them? How can it be best understood? And fifth, and most important, what do you want them to do about that message, your audience? So your strategy needs to all end up in the result, the action that you want your organization to take. It's being motivated, it's being engaged, it's doubling down on some call to action that you might be using your communication strategy for. It might be being better aware of a new brand strategy, of a new set of promotions, of a strategic pivot that your company might be making. It's important that you identify what it is you're trying to achieve, the channels, etc., that I just enumerated. That's a digital communication strategy. My friend, that was the last of the questions, and there's nothing left for me to do but thank you and remind you of a couple of things. Don't forget, weekly sessions every Tuesday, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, lunchtime. 30 minutes, we're going to get together for Growth Bites. Slido is still the place where you can put your questions. The only difference is I'm instituting a cutoff on Monday so that I can take the top 5 answers, answer those, and get them clear so that you can see them here. Where are my fingers? Right there. in the screen like I've been trying to do for the past few sessions. If you're struggling with business writing, let me know. I'm interested in interviewing you, 20 minutes, no more. I want to understand what your pain points are. If you struggle with writing a succinct business communication where you can identify the priorities, the important points, the things that need to be conveyed in a very clear, powerful way, the way that you see your senior leaders communicate, if you don't want to learn how to do that, but struggle, I'm really interested in learning what your struggles are. How can I help you? How should I create a course that's maximally effective for you to improve on that? That's what I want to hear. So please let me know, DM me, get in touch with me. There's many ways. There's a lot of resources here. Leverage them to reach out to me, and I will send you an invite and we can get into a short conversation. And finally, I just mentioned resources. Don't forget that everything that I try to answer in these sessions is recorded. So every single Growth Bites episode is in my YouTube channel. You can go and find it there. It's in the description. And there's like 200 videos with me talking about many different topics that I'm pretty sure could be useful resources to you. Most of them, well, it's a pretty balanced combination of long form and short form videos, those that last less than 1 minute. But don't be shy, go there, follow me on LinkedIn. I'm posting content at least 3 times a week, if not daily. And again, it's capsules from these conversations. It's specific thoughts on different questions. And I send out a weekly newsletter. Let me know if you would be interested in receiving that. It's really more a weekly email that I send out to people in my email list. And I will create a newsletter to also invite others to receive those messages. I'm pretty sure that there's also valuable resources in there that you could leverage. So if you're interested, let me know and keep your eyes peeled for when I turn that into a newsletter. My friend, with that, I'm going to get out of your hair, let you enjoy your Tuesday. Have a fantastic rest of the week. I will see you here next week for next session of Growth Bites. I won't be in my studio. I will be traveling, but I will see you here, and I look forward to that. Much success. All right, take care, and I'll see you next week. Bye.